Go ahead,
Perfect.
Hannah.
And we have Mayor Adler joining us here in just a moment, and we are going to get connected with him here. Make sure he is on the line.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Can you hear us? Oh. Mayor, can you hear us? You can hear us, but we can't hear you.
I can hear you. Do you hear an echo?
Oh, we've been having on and off technical issues all afternoon. We apologize for that. We can hear you just fine, and we
If you can hear me fine, then I'm good.
Oh, very good. We appreciate your time. Hannah Rucker and Jenny Lee here with you this afternoon. And so I imagine you've been seeing what's going on this afternoon. Mayor, what are your thoughts about this protest that has spread throughout downtown?
You know, I've had the opportunity to be around downtown today to see, having a demonstration and a public statement right now, I think is a really appropriate thing when you look at what it is that's been happening in communities around the country and here in Austin. You can't have events like we saw with George Floyd and with Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and Mike Ramos here without, I believe, without there needing to be some kind of response. So I think that's a good thing. I am pleased and that our police are showing the restraint that I see them showing. That's their job, and they're doing that well. I'm pleased that the demonstrators have kept it to be a peaceful event, because I think that's a real important thing in a city. And as the mayor in a city undergoing a pandemic, I'm real pleased that most of the people are wearing face coverings. I wish we were doing a better job of social distancing. But this is a moment that is an important time to make a statement, because I think that we do have a unique opportunity as a community to really advance the work that's been happening here locally, the decriminalization of smaller crimes, the real augmentation of police oversight, the things we're doing in this city. We need to accelerate and do even more if we're going to undo what are generations of inequities. We have ground to be made up, and I hope that we leave these times as a better city than we entered them.
And so, Mayor, what is the council, what are you yourself prepared to do after you see these protesters and demonstrators go to the streets, go to I-35? What are you guys prepared to do after this point?
Well, I think that it really builds resolve to really push forward with the things that have been initiated over the last couple of years. Quite frankly, this city has done more than almost any other city in the country in terms of decriminalizing offenses that led to disparate arrests. We've done that. We have augmented, like I said, the police oversight, but we are in the middle of doing work to change the culture in our police department. We saw that the DA today is taking the case of Mike Ramos to a grand jury. I think that's appropriate. I saw the same video that the community saw that first weekend, and commented that weekend that video was incredibly troubling. We have a lot of work to do in Austin. We are a progressive city, but we have a legacy that has led to us being one of the most geographically segregated cities in the country. We have work to do, and I think that we all have to resolve to do better in this city. We have to accelerate the path that we're on.
And Mayor, are you prepared to say what that work is? We have a lot of work to do, so can you be more specific about what that work entails?
Well, I think that we have to do the things that are necessary within our police department to change the culture. We have to change how we do training of officers. We have to change how we recruit officers so that we are doing a better job of focusing on servant assistance in public safety rather than law enforcement alone, because really it's a just community that is the safest community. We're changing the practices in our city with respect to whether we arrest for small crimes. We're looking at the disparities, the racial and ethnic disparities that we see in our city, and trying to change those practices. But we're in the middle right now of doing the cultural audit. We are revamping the curriculum that we do in our training programs to really focus on on de-escalation of events. We're trying to, and in the process right now, having adopted the dollars to better incorporating a mental health response with our law enforcement response, so we don't have incidents like we've had in this city, where people end up dead on a call that was originated as a distress call. There are a lot of things we need to be doing.
And Mayor, you've seen the protest in Dallas and Houston and other parts of the country. What does it say about Austin that for the better past, let's see, 4.5 hours, it's been peaceful here in Austin? What does that say about ATX?
Well, it's on the one hand, it's we're lucky because a demonstration like this can be thrown off center pretty easily with a stray act or two. So I don't discount that. But generally speaking, Austin is a community that is not shying away from, but actively engaging in this conversation. I mean, it's hard to talk about race, but as the list grows of the number of unarmed men and women of color that are ending up dead in confrontations with police, you have to recognize that kind of thing serves to undercut trust. And this is a community, I think, that recognizes that values that trust, and needs to do everything it can and is on that path. I think that helps. But having demonstrations like this to remind us that we are not there and progress is not fast enough is an entirely appropriate thing. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed over the course of this weekend, even as we are preparing, that it'll stay nonviolent, and I hope that it does.
And finally, Mayor, do you plan on attending tomorrow's protest at the state capitol?
I'm aware of the protest tomorrow at the state capitol, and you know, I'm trying to stay away from the events like this, as I'm trying to stay away from large groups, because we're in the middle of a pandemic. But I am trying to speak loudly and very clearly on the issues, with the statements that I've made, with my evening reports that I've been doing every night to the community, and address this topic in particular last night, because I think this is an important message for everyone to hear.
Now, that is a good segue into what are your concerns? You know, there are a lot of people. Look at the crowds at the state capitol and the crowds and how closely they were together with no social distancing. Any concerns of any spike with COVID after today's protest, yesterday's protest, and certainly tomorrow's protest?
The answer to that is yes. You know, I wish there was a way for a protest to be organized that could be very strong and dramatic, with people wearing face coverings, but also maintaining social distancing. I know there are a lot of people in this crowd that are wearing face coverings. Some people are trying to social distance, but yes, that is a concern. We can't do what we have been doing for the last 2 months and not be concerned about any large event that has people gathering as close as what's happening today. So absolutely, that is a concern, and I urge everybody to try to avoid them.
And that was my next question to you. How can we practice our First Amendment rights and protest and say what we want to say, and at the same time do it safely? Any words of advice?
I recognize it is a hard thing to do. But I would urge people that it's not an impossible thing to do, and the safest way to keep everyone who's demonstrating healthy would be for people to be mindful of that as best they possibly can.
Mayor Steve Adler, thank you for joining us. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say, Mayor? I didn't mean to.
No, Janie, I think you asked all the questions.
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate your time today.